For years, I thought my marriage was steady. My wife, Meera, and I had been together almost a decade. We had 2 kids, a house we worked hard for, and what looked like a normal, happy life. But what I didn't realize was that Meera had been slowly building a double life, one she was planning to drag me into under the pretense of progressive love. It started one evening over dinner. Meera casually said, monogamy is outdated. A lot of couples are happier with open marriages. I froze. This wasn't the kind of thing we ever talked about. I asked her why she was suddenly interested in that. She smiled nervously and said, I just think it might be fun to explore, and it wouldn't mean we don't love each other. Alarm bells rang in my head. Nobody suggests opening a marriage out of the blue unless there's already someone else involved. Instead of arguing, I just nodded and said, let me think about it. That night, I couldn't sleep. My instincts told me she was already cheating and just wanted my permission to keep going without consequences. I needed to know the truth before I made a move. Over the next few weeks, I watched more closely. Meera became more secretive with her phone. She had late meetings that didn't add up. The intimacy between us grew colder, and her patience with the kids wore thin. Then the biggest suspicion of all hit me like a thunderbolt. Our youngest daughter didn't really look like me. I had ignored it before. Kids can take after extended family. But now, with the talk of open marriage and her strange behavior, I couldn't brush it aside, so quietly, I ordered DNA tests, one for both kids. I didn't tell a soul. The results arrived in a plain envelope that would change my life forever. My eldest son was mine, but my daughter? She wasn't. The paper in my hand confirmed what I had feared. My wife had cheated, and one of our children was the product of her affair. I felt sick. 10 years of my life, all the effort, trust, and loyalty, mocked by a single sheet of paper. But after the anger came clarity. If Meera wanted to modernize our marriage, I was going to modernize the consequences. That evening, she brought it up again. So, have you thought more about the open marriage idea? She asked, swirling wine like she was suggesting a vacation. I kept my voice calm. Yes, I have. And I've decided I want something open too. Open court records. Open divorce papers, her face drained of color. What are you talking about? I slid the DNA test results across the table. You wanted honesty, right? Here it is. One of these kids isn't mine. You've been cheating for years, and instead of admitting it, you wanted to wrap it up in some fake enlightened talk about open marriage. Well, I don't do open. I do truth. And the truth is this marriage is over. Meera's mouth opened, then closed. Tears welled up in her eyes. It was a mistake, she whispered. It didn't mean anything. I didn't want to lose you, I laughed bitterly. You didn't want to lose me, but you also didn't want to lose him. So you came up with this fantasy about an open marriage where you get to cheat freely while I sit at home raising a child that isn't mine. Do you realize how insulting that is? She collapsed into sobs, begging for a second chance. She swore she would cut off the affair partner, swore we could fix things, swore she still loved me. But for me, the switch had flipped. Once you learn your wife carried another man's child into your marriage, there is no fixing that. I had already contacted a lawyer that afternoon. With the DNA results and proof of infidelity, I had leverage. The divorce was going to be swift, and the custody of my biological son was going to be mine. As for my daughter, I loved her, but I refused to raise her under the shadow of lies. I arranged for custody terms that would leave Meera fully responsible. Over the next few weeks, I exposed the truth in small, controlled doses. I didn't blast it on social media, but I made sure her parents, siblings, and a few close friends knew why the marriage ended. I shared the DNA test privately with her family. Their shame toward her was louder than any revenge speech I could have delivered. Meera tried everything: apologies, manipulation, even threats that I'd regret leaving. But I never raised my voice. My silence, my cold detachment was worse for her than any argument. She wanted emotion. She wanted me to fight for her. Instead, I ghosted her outside of legal matters. In court, my lawyer presented the evidence. The judge sided with me on nearly everything: property division, custody of my son, financial settlements. Meera walked away with almost nothing but her affair baby and a reputation in tatters. The best part? I never needed to scream, hit, or humiliate. The DNA test and divorce papers did all the work for me. Now, when people ask why we divorced, I don't rant. I simply say, she wanted an open marriage. I gave her an open door, and that's how I took back my dignity, by refusing to let betrayal define me. and by ensuring that the truth, not her lies, was the final word.